Honey, are you going to tell me when we're live?
Okay, you tell me, like, did you
We
start it?
are live with no viewers, and we've been live for 43, 40. Why is that counter counting backwards?
Yes,
Instead,
we are live.
huh? We're live?
Yes.
Yay! Hello, everyone. Welcome to Anime Analyst R Us, where we cannot get our shit together for no matter how hard we try. I hope you're ready for a great show tonight because, well, we're here. We are the masters of anime. We know everything. Ask me any question, I'll answer it. It might be wrong answer, but I'll answer it. So, you never know what kind of question, but I'll look it up if I don't know. So come and hit me with the questions. You got it? I may look old, but I watch anime all the time. I'm telling you. And Hassan watches it a lot too.
Okay, but the thing you said that has my mind on that. So, like, if I ask you a question, you will be quick. Like, you get me the answer, but not sure if it's the right answer or
90.
the wrong
Well,
answer.
I can answer the question in 2 seconds, but it just may not be the exact right answer. But I can answer any question thrown at me, and the question has to be on the subject that we're talking about. Tonight is the Apothecary Diaries, and we're going to go into the possible royal lineage of MaoMao. Our protagonist in this story is she's an amazing girl. I mean, she's 17 years old. She knows more about doctoring than pretty much any doctor in the area. She grew up under an adopted father who has royal connections. And was a royal physicist. He was a big time doctor, and because of politics, he got kicked out of he got kicked out of doctoring at the royal palace. So he does it for the brothel now, which thank God we got to keep them women in good shape. Um, and in the meantime, he's raising MaoMao, raised her basically as his own daughter. So she has, 50 years worth of medical stuff from all around the world that she has at her disposal. And then to top it all off, she's a genius. I mean, there ain't nothing that girl can't figure out. I liked the last episode. She went in and picked the colors and figured. Oh, by the way, spoiler, cover your ears, cover your ears. She picked the right colors through the whole thing, and the Emperor could not even get the right path. She got the right path. So, and if you listen to everything they say, they hint about her lineage. And according to the Emperor just gave MaoMao to what's his name? Now I can't remember it. I normally have you have to excuse me tonight. We had one hell of a night getting online, and in the process of getting online, my dumbass forgot to go and pull up my character names. I know who we're talking about. I have a horrible thing with names. I cannot remember names. So when it comes down to it, I have to keep the names of all the characters up on my sheet, Jinshi. So, MaoMao is basically going to be Jinshi's wife. And that's another fact that they hide in the anime. And they don't tell you, and they're not going to. Well, actually, they did a couple episodes. They did exactly tell who Jinshi is, and Jinshi is the younger brother of the emperor. That's why he's got all the power, and that's why he's a fake eunuch, and MaoMao's going to be his wife, and that reinforces the fact that she's a royal.
Okay, but uh,
Go ahead and ask away. Hit me.
no, I was not going to ask you. Like, I was going to give you my insight. Like, like I really like this time frame in the history. Like,
Oh
how
yeah, of course.
yeah, and while watching this, I was thinking about our situation. Like, at this moment, we have completely different thoughts. Like, we have different worries, and we have different. But I was thinking, like, what would be their thoughts? Like, they were just like the politics they are doing in a room. Like, for them, they don't have a village outside of the palace. Like their politics, like the girls they have in their chambers, and like their what they are doing. Like, I think it was the first episode when in the season one, when the kid of the emperor got sick and she hinted them with the flower, and one of them took that flower and other didn't take that, and one of the kid died.
Okay.
Yeah, so like I was thinking, like they're just like at that period, like they were completely different things. Like they didn't knew like the things like we know.
Well,
Like
I
we
don't know
try
if
to.
I'd go that far. I mean, they definitely, knew a lot. I mean, just some of the stuff I mean, they don't have cell phones and tablets and computers, but they aren't any dumber than we are. I mean, we're a little farther in our. Well, I mean, look at the BS that's going on around the world. I mean, even in my country, we got a president in there that a lot of people don't like. A lot of people don't like Trump. And you know what? TFB. He's the freaking president now. You honor him as a president. You're not putting him on a pedestal. You're putting the office of the presidency on the pedestal. That's what you're honoring in our country. It's not the man, you're honoring the chair. The point behind it. And we got shit ton of infighting, a bunch of crybabies, blah, blah, blah. All right, well, they sat there and told lies about him for 6 freaking years. Of course you're going to have a bunch of morons that think that the lies are truth. And, my buddy, and I'm going to call him out on this show, my best friend, the first time Trump got into office, he's pro-Trump. I love Trump, blah, blah, blah. And you want to talk about wishy-washy he is. Now he hates Trump, and if I bring up his name, then he instantly starts throwing crap that he thinks he knows in my face. And I'm like, well, throw it in my face all you want. Because if you're talking about something the man said, I don't want to hear it. Because he's a bullshitter. He's a salesman. Half the crap that comes out of his mouth is not true. But if you look at what he puts on paper, what's in black and white, you won't find any lies there. I mean, they scrupulatized him so bad they looked at every word the man said for 4 freaking years. Had him in court trying to prove the man lied. Not one lie was proven in black and white. Not one. So, if you look at, all right, yeah, they're back in the samurai era, and they still did things that we would never do today, but, I mean, there's still slavery in the world today. There was
Right.
slavery back then. I mean, I don't know if there's any eunuchs in the world. I don't know how many people putting rubber bands around their balls, but if that's your gauge, I mean, what did they not do that makes you think that those people were behind us in intelligence?
No, I think they were more intelligent because these are the people who started developing the things. Because nowadays, if you see a kid who has a mobile phone is more stupid than the kid like who didn't
Yep.
have the mobile phone. So I don't think in that way. But my thinking was like, if we like, for example, take this channel, take this show, like this is from around the world, like we are completely on the
Yes.
different. But at that time, like when there was nothing, like they need month of travel to get to news from one place. Like if they have to tell them something, maybe it will change by the time it reaches there.
Well,
So I
I
was
mean,
just
that's how it was.
right, and I was coming to the point like, and how in the animes they show that time, like you believe like this is the real thing, like this is exactly how it happened, and that, and
It
I was just
certainly does appear to be an anime. It seems like it's almost a historic review of what actually happened. That's how good this anime is. It makes you believe these people were real. This is
right,
an awesome anime. I can't talk it up enough. It's just that good. It's got great reviews. It's almost a 9. I mean, we're talking this thing's ranked 23. The last time we talked about something in two-digit ranking was the End of the World one. What's the name of that anime? Beyond the End of the World or whatever journey.
Arifuta.
No, that one's dude kicking
Oh,
ass.
right. Aaron, the story of
The
beyond
girl that's
the,
walking all around that was with the heroes, and
yes.
that's like ranked number 1. But we're talking about an anime that's ranked number 23 out of a million animes. The popularity's at 416, and on season 1 they've got over 500,000 members. And if I go to season 2, I mean, they got light novel, they got manga, they got adaptations of the Apothecary Diaries. It's on TV. It's everywhere. Okay, the season 2 is actually ranked. It's 877. It's ranked 39. And it's got a quarter minute. It's only halfway through it, and it's not. Or let me rephrase that. It's not even halfway through it, and they've already got over 250,000 members in it. It's phenom. This is a great anime. I can't wait to see what comes next. Honestly, if you were asked me what without reading ahead in the manga, so the story's already written and it's already in paperback, so if someone's read that, they're going to know more than me about this anime. But I've done my research. I don't want to read the novel because I enjoy watching what comes next every week. I like that part in how Crunchyroll does it, just like a week, because I can't stand TV anymore. I won't watch it. TV is a half-hour commercials for crap you're never going to buy. And then you get this crappy story because now they only got 30 minutes. And now the seasons, they used to be 24 episodes to get a season on TV. Then they dropped down to 12. Now they're down to 8 or 9 sometimes. Unless you like Chicago Fire, Police, and Health, I mean, they got, because they got Chicago Med, they got Chicago PD, they got Chicago FD, the fire department, they got, next thing you know, they're going to have Chicago Taxi. They're making a show about everything in Chicago, and it is ranked high. But it's still, when it's all said and done, it's 12 shows in a season. You get more than that in anime on a junk one. But if they're good like the Apothecary Diaries, we got 24 episodes on the first season. We're already up to, 9? And, I don't know how many are going to be. I think it's, I would assume it would be 24 episodes on this season. And we're only at 8. There's all kinds of stuff going to happen. Now, I do hope for you there's a sword battle somewhere along the way, because I know you're into swords. You may not be into King Arthur's sword, but Excalibur.
The one that they buried in the stone, and they said like the right owner will take it out. The myth that.
Yeah, well, that's what happened. The king of, I think it was England. I don't know what it was called back then, but it's modern day England. The king pulled the Excalibur out of the stone, and that, in that period that you love, you didn't vote in a guy that leads you. You put 50 people in a room with a bunch of deadly weapons and said whoever walks out's going to be the king, basically. So you have to go into a free-for-all. That king would have to murder at least 30, 40 people before he could be considered for king, right? I mean, the whole samurai way is about life and death. A samurai soldier would read his will before he would go into every battle. He would either sing it or meditate on it, or there's a lot of different ways that I saw how they did that. There's certain, what do you want to call them, things that they do. Like if they fail with their sword, they have to commit hara-kiri. You have to disembowel yourself. What a way to die, huh? Because in Ronin, in the 47 Ronin, all 47 of them disemboweled themselves at the same time. And they won. That was the winner. Don't get me wrong. I love samurais. I love swords. I used to own a real one. It was folded 132 times. It was a beautiful sword. But I couldn't afford to keep it. People don't realize how expensive those swords are. You're talking $100,000, and I didn't want to make those kind of payments when I'm poor. So I sold the sword, but it's an amazing era of life, but life was worth nothing. And I would say, if you want to say, what's the difference? I asked you this earlier. What's the difference between then and now? Our life expectancy now is up in the 70s. Back then, it was in the 20s. That's about the only flipping difference. And they were actually smarter than we are now. And they lived in caves and tents and crapped on the side of the road. I mean, there was a lot of things that they were lacking. Now, the Emperor's Palace had a septic system and all that, but they didn't understand that was a dumbass idea to just dump it in the river, but that's what they did. Yeah, as long as it wasn't around the Emperor, he didn't care. But I still don't understand how to use a Japanese toilet. It's ceramic with a hole in the ground. I mean, if I had to squat over a hole right now, I'd be in trouble. I'd have to have a chair with the seat cut out because my ass don't bend like that with the peg leg. You just can't bend your knee like that. So, all right, hit me. Give me another question from the Apothecary Diaries. We're having fun with this. At least I am.
Oh yes, yeah. The question that I think I asked you before, but I didn't want it to get the answer. Like I wanted to get it on the show. Like we were discussing, like apothecary means like from medic field, but this girl is like she's helping out in different things. Like she's like working as a detective. Like when the fire break out in the storeroom, and when the people were going to die with the tobacco poisoning in the brothel, the girl and the guy, and then the will when the guy died and he left three things to his sons and
Oh, yeah.
they didn't they
Yeah,
didn't know
that
what to
wasn't
do.
medicine, but okay, let's start from the beginning. Apothecary, a person who prepared and sold medicines and drugs. But we find out in episode 1 this is just a name because she knows how to make medicine, but she's brilliant. She can deduct, she has great mind, and she looks and pays attention to everything that's going on around her. I kind of feel good because that's how I solve problems too. You know, when we were talking about royal lineages, that was all stuff that I surmised from watching the show, reading the website, looking at the characters, listening to what they say. All that stuff, they'll tell you if you just pay attention, and she's picking up on that. You know, she can, when she went over with the lock and the key and the thing, if you think about it, you're not going to give your sons crap, but you want them to draw together if you're their parent. So you leave them with something they have to figure out on how things work. And it was their flippin' trademark metalworking stuff that should have been so easy to figure out. It wouldn't have been. They had no reason to have to call her in to solve that. They should have been able to fix that themselves. But they're a bunch of whiny crybabies that don't know how to put themselves. You have to decide on your position. You know, we're starting a new business. So when we've had two very long conversations about how it's going to work. We have our titles, our job titles, and our job descriptions are well defined. This business is going to work because we well defined it in the beginning. If those gentlemen would have defined their jobs, then they would have figured that out no problem, because that's all their dad was trying to do is, you know, if you won't listen to me when I'm alive, then screw ya. I'm going to mess with you and make you listen to me after I'm dead. And it worked. Now, granted, I don't know if they were in on attempted murder on Jinshi, but you know, they did make the metalwork that almost killed Master Jinshi. So, in our modern world, they'd go to jail for accessory to murder. But back then, they just, you dumbass, you made that for someone that tried to kill somebody. You know, that, shame on you. But the Emperor, he could disembowel them all. You know, could have murdered them, chopped their heads off. It was a little rough to live back in that era. I mean, you love it, but would you ever want to live then?
I think if like we move in an instance like with the time travel thing, we won't survive there because like if we're born there, then we won't like it there because we don't know like what
Well,
like
if you don't know what's better, then it doesn't bother you in the least.
yeah, because like I don't think so like we can grow our own food to eat or like
What?
if
I can. Until
okay
in the last 2 seasons, I haven't planted anything. But my buddy has a bunch of hens. I eat his eggs all the time. I used to grow my own
Okay, no,
tomatoes.
I get it, but I was saying like if we go back to that time. Now, if you see like you can buy the seeds for the vegetable you want to grow, you can control the weather, you can have the pesticide to kill the insects, like these things.
I
And
don't
like if
use pesticides, and I get my seeds out of the tomatoes that I grow, so I don't buy my seed. I did buy my seeds in the beginning, but yes, there are cheats that you can do. I take pride in what I do, so I don't use them. But they are there. I'm not denying that. But they were also there back then. She went and got seeds from another person to plant the flowers and they went and bought rosebuds when they did the blue rose thing, and that was all the same way we do it now. They went to the store, bought 100 roses, brought them back, and grew them. What at if you take the whole picture in, I don't see the difference between then and now. I think we're
okay,
actually dumber
let
now.
let let put it simply. Like if I have to wake up tomorrow and have to like use the
Oh, you
hand
couldn't.
tools, yeah, that thing I was saying, like then we will not adjust. Like from if we have to do
But
that thing.
one of those persons, if you take it works the other way too. You could not take MaoMao out of what she might have. She's a genius. But like her friend, who's not a genius, you could not pull her into modern times. She'd go nuts. She'd literally go insane. So in our conversation about this, you can't use that because it's the exact same if it's the other way. You can't just rip a person out of their time, throw them in another time 5,000 years apart. What would happen if you hit the time button or walk through Stargate, go through the Stargate, and all of a sudden you're 5,000 years in the future? How do you think you think you're going to know how to operate the toilet? They may not even have toilets in the future. You may just stick a pipe up your ass and go. Uh, You never know what could. I mean, if you watch, did you watch Sylvester Stallone in the Time Cop movie, whatever he did, where he went to prison for something he didn't do, and they woke him up 400 years later, and he said he had to go to the bathroom, and they got 3 seashells in the bathroom, and that no toilet paper, and nobody explained to him how to use the seashells.
All right.
I mean, it's kind of obvious how you use seashells if you're going to the bathroom, but I'm not going to say anything about that unless they got some electrical device. Here's something, and I don't mean to go off topic, but I've always thought of this ever since I was a little kid, and I solved the Manhattan Project. I've done a lot of research on that. And I believe that the Manhattan Project was successful. I believe that it is still going on today. I think our country, the United States, has the ability to leave our timeline. Now, I don't know what happens on the other end. I just know they can leave and come back. Now, whether or not you can go into history, or you're going to the future, or you're going into a different realm. And here's something else I want to throw at you. And let me finish saying about that. I have been collecting the cores and the wires and the magnets all my life. I have a huge thing. I've always believed that if you apply electric to an electromagnetic system, like they did in the Manhattan Project, you can make a car float in the air. I do not believe we need. I do not believe we even need cars today. The only reason they're still here is there are some very rich people that do not allow the new technology to come out. Because then they won't be rich anymore. That's how selfish motherfuckers are today. Sorry for my language. Beep, 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 beep. That's what I think of people today. Now, on the other aspect of it, have you ever seen a TV show called SG-1?
No, I don't think so.
It's called Stargate Universe. And they are Team 1. That's where the SG-1 comes in. 20 years of TV. Every Friday night, they have an episode about something from that core thing of they found a Stargate in 1939 in the desert close to where you live, and which stuff will last in the desert for thousands of years. Where, in dirt or over here, it wouldn't last 500. I believe that the Stargate is real. And yeah, I'm saying that on a live show right now because I believe that we can go to other planets. We got spaceships. I think the whole reason that Stargate came out as a TV show is so they can dumb people down on aliens and spaceships, and because if you dropped a spaceship in the middle of Manhattan right now, you would have what you had on the Avengers. Everybody screaming, running, craziness going on. So if you're going to introduce flying ships to the public, you better set them up in the beginning of something and get people used to it. Get it to where it's second nature. Well, you got a spaceship? That's funny. I'd love to have a spaceship. Get everybody just blowing it off. Then when you introduce a spaceship, which I got VHS tapes of, basically it looks like a cockpit of an F-14, and they're flying them around, no engines, no wings, and over Area 50, not exactly over Area 51. There's many areas out in the desert. I don't know which secret base the film was because they were holding the camera up, so you can't get any landscape from it. But I got proof that our military already owns basically flying saucers. And other people have that same proof. That tape got around to a lot of people before the original got destroyed. Before we moved over here, I knew a lady. My mom introduced me to her. Basically just because they were friends and they talked. So I got a chance to talk to her. Well, her husband worked for NASA, and he was a film director for the 1968 and forward space missions. So she, not thinking about it, handed me all his leftover VHS tapes, so I watched them. Holy crap. Because those tapes showed, because those cameras were on as they're circling the moon. So I've seen tapes of the backside of the moon. If you keep your eyes and ears open, you will find out stuff. It's not that complicated, that either could be top secret or, of course it can be some bullshit story, but they did 20 years of this and made it to where it's a household name, and the show didn't explode like the Avengers did. Well, we know the Avengers is fake. It's a movie. Okay, I mean they're not gonna lift New York up in the sky. Blah blah blah
Right.
bullshit bullshit. The bullshit dinger going off. But when they did this show, same premise, same thing. 20 years, same actors, and they're Canadian actors. If that would have been bullshit, it would have been blown up. There would have been, with that kind of following that watched and the number of viewers that saw those shows, it was phenomenal. But yet, when I ask people outside of the country, have you seen SG1? Do you know what Stargate Atlantis is? Nobody's ever heard of it. So that tells me they were targeting U.S. citizens. I know it was shown around the world, but it wasn't shown like it was, and it wasn't celebrated like it was in the U.S. And I know we got way off the topic, but I just, the Apothecary Diaries brings out these conversations just from talking about it, because MaoMao really is. I mean, she's a detective. She's not just
Yeah.
a medicine maker, and I think she has royal blood in her. It may be from a disgraced mother, but it's still royal blood. So, I don't. Overall, knowing that we have another, what, 9 from 24 is 15, right? There's still 15 more episodes. One, do you think it can maintain its quality and pace? Or do you think they're going to start making MaoMao ride a dragon and slay a 50-foot tall orc or some bullshit like that? Or do you think they're going to keep it real and just take this girl that has really good intelligence and showcase that?
I think this is the hardest job for these guys, like when they create something really amazing the first time, and next time their competition is themselves, like they don't have any outside competition. So, like most of the time, the second part don't have like they get away from the things that they set up in the
Right.
season one.
Well, when you're trying to draw in new people all the time, they kind of force the writers to write more extravagant things. There's some of them that they lose their freaking minds on the second one, and maybe we should do a show about dumbass second seasons. But I don't think they're going to do that here.
Yeah, I think at the pace they are going and how they are portraying it, so I think it's going to stay on course because it's not like always they do like it. Like sometimes they have like 5, 6 seasons and every one of them like you can watch and they're all on the same level.
Um, One that I love, Arafuda from Commonplace to World's Strongest. They have stayed on that narrow line, and they're doing really good. There's some that, like Demon Lord Retry R. They couldn't even call it second season. They just put an R after the Demon Lord Retry. It is the dumbest title. I don't get it. And, it's supposed to be old times, and then he goes in a dungeon and finds a gun. Well, you're in a sword era. Why would there be a gun there? When you start bringing magic in, you could just make believe whatever the hell you want. And I don't like it. I think they ruin the whole show when they do stuff like that. All right.
Yes.
So, the Apothecary Diaries, do you recommend?
Well, yes, I think their numbers speak for them. Like we don't have to go, and I think like their ranking on this one is accurate. Like the my Analyst ranking and the popularity. I agree with that.
Now, the second season has kind of dropped off a little bit. They went from 24 to 39, but I think it's still early in the season. So define your answer. So they use scores like 8.77, 9.23. The first season was 8.89. If you had to give an exact point value, have you made up your mind where your point value would be? Because mine would be 9.25. I'm not going to give it a 10.
Okay, I was thinking like there is a difference between like the members from season 1 to season 2. Like in the season 1, like they have like 500,000 members, and on season 2 they have 250, like, correct?
Yeah.
So I think the people who rate something before it finish, they should wait. Like, how can you rate something out of 9 episodes, and then what if in the next 15 episodes
It
they drop the level to zero and like
Then I will get on this show and go, my 9.25 is now a 4.13. We can change our opinions. We got a weekly show, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, no, I get it. 90% of the people that voted on this voted on episode 1. So all you have to do is have a really good episode 1. Oh, the other one was called Beyond the Journey's End. That's the name of it. But anyway, yeah, I agree with you. People vote way too quick on that. And this is probably one of the longest shows we've ever done. We're coming up on 42 minutes. So we're going to take off, and I got a bathroom to remodel, and you got some work to do. So I think we're going to take off for the week. I hope you watched the Apothecary Diaries. It's highly recommended from both of us. It is a worth watch. It is worth taking your time out to watch, because there's 24 episodes in season 1 and 24 episodes in season 2, and they're only on show 9. So don't go judging it. Wait till we get into 21 episodes of season 2 before you judge it. So
see you next week with the new show and with the new anime.
And I'm looking forward to it. We will be back we'll be back at our regular time next week. Hopefully it should be on Wednesday at 5. So it should be easier to find, but we hope to see you there. Come on in our chat room. Challenge me, please. Bring it on. I'll take y'all